Hi there. Release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me. That was a line from Star Wars. My COVID mask makes me think of Darth Vader's mask or Bane's. Release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me, is what Darth Vader said. And what I tried to say through my mask, I don't know if you caught it. Emotions were created by God and are good things. And he invites us throughout Scripture to delight in Him and His creation, to enjoy things, to experience joy. There's confessions of sorrow and lament, and anger is mentioned a lot in Scripture too. But where Darth Vader says, release your anger, Scripture actually says something else. Like all things, our emotions were disfigured by sin. They're broken by sin, and now our emotions can lead us into sin, especially anger. And so Paul tells us, do not sin in your anger, or in your anger, do not sin. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. And in Psalm chapter 37, verse 8, it says, refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. So our anger and our fretting leads to evil. And I think that can be true of all of our emotions, that if we're not careful, our emotions can lead us to sin. So anger is it's a very obvious one. It's a very common one. When people are angry, it's easy to lash out in words or even physically. I know that I've slammed doors in anger before and broken things on purpose because I was angry. And our other emotions, when we let them go unchecked, can also lead us into sin. And so I'm thinking of like, that flush of new love or romantic feelings can lead us to set aside our morals or our common sense and go further with that person than we wanted to do. Or our loneliness or our sorrow unchecked can lead us to coping things that we wouldn't normally turn to or want to turn to in more lucid times. And so the answer in scripture, refrain from anger, turn from wrath, do not fret, it only leads to evil. It's not telling us to push down or like cover up our emotions. It's not telling us to bottle them up. But the answer is to submit our emotions to God and allow our wills to be above our emotions. That is, let our emotions be subservient to our wills. So we surrender our emotions to God, saying, God, I'm feeling whatever right now. I'm feeling infatuated. I'm feeling angry. And I know that when I'm feeling this, I can put my common sense aside. And so I submit my feelings to you and I surrender them to you. And praying that way helps us to put them in check. It's a pause where whatever is causing that emotion to rise up, whatever the emotion is, it's a pause by which we reorient ourselves to God. And in that moment, our mind is cleared and we're not as controlled by our emotions then in that case. This is something that takes work to do. It takes practice to stop ourselves in that moment and reorient our hearts. However, again, our as spiritual beings, we're not controlled by our emotions, but we control our emotions. or we can rein them in by our wills. And so, as we go through this pandemic, you might find your patience running thin and your emotion of frustration or anger is running higher. Maybe you're in a new relationship and you're feeling that the butterflies in your stomach and I want to say infatuation, and I don't mean to disregard your feelings by that way, but that feelings of new love. Maybe you're feeling increased loneliness during this time, or maybe your relationship is struggling right now and those emotions are coming up, and in all these ways, if our emotions are left unchecked, will lead us to evil, as Psalms 37 says, or it will lead us to doing things that are contrary to our good and contrary to what God desires for us, because what he desires for us is our good. But our thinking, our rational mind, our common sense can sometimes leave in the throes of emotions. And so again, whatever you're experiencing during this time of pandemic, when you feel these emotions rising up within you, don't release them like Darth Vader wants Luke to do. But instead, surrender them to God. And in doing that, you will reorient your heart, you'll clear your mind, and you'll be exercising your will over your emotions. Well, that's it for me for today. God bless, and I'll see you soon.